Welcome to the deep dive. Ever wondered if a robot could, run a government? Or if your car could read road signs better than you sometimes?
Maybe.
Well, today we're diving into two really fascinating real-world examples from the absolute cutting edge of AI. We'll look at Albania's, get this, new AI minister, and then we'll shift gears to see how some advanced but really efficient AI is making cars way smarter and safer.
Yeah, and these aren't just, theoretical things. They really highlight how fast AI is integrating into, everything. Governance, personal mobility. We'll be looking at how they're actually doing it, the goals, the tech, and some of the big questions that pop up. Trying to understand not just what's happening, but why it matters.
Okay, so let's unpack this first story because it sounds pretty wild. Albania has reportedly appointed the world's first AI minister, a digital entity they're calling her Della, and her job is overseeing public procurement. It's not sci-fi anymore.
Right, it's making headlines. And what's really interesting is the explicit goal stated by the Albanian Prime Minister, Edi Rama. He said, and I'm quoting loosely here, that the aim is to ensure public tenders are exempt of corruption at 100% and totally transparent.
Wow, 100%.
Yeah. So Della isn't just some, chatbot assistant. She's tasked with actually evaluating these bids and even recruiting international talent. And just for context, Della wasn't born yesterday. She was first launched back in January 2025.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as a virtual assistant, dressed in traditional Albanian clothes, actually, helping people use the e-Albania government platform.
Okay, so she started as an assistant and now she's a minister overseeing procurement. That's quite a promotion. But 100% corruption-free guarantee from an AI, that sounds almost too good to be true.
Exactly.
The internet's buzzing, obviously. I saw comments asking if it's satire, like something from La Graphi or The Onion. You have to wonder, how realistic is that promise? Does an AI really stop corruption or just change how it might happen?
That really hits the nail on the head. It's less about just stopping corruption and more about shifting where the responsibility lies. We move from thinking about human intentions and accountability to thinking about the integrity of the algorithm itself. Is the code clean? And lots of people online jumped on the risks immediately. AI hallucinations, the fact that these models often can't just say, I don't know. They might just invent an answer.
Or they make stuff up.
Yeah, or effectively lie. And then there's the whole transparency issue. Can you really trace back why the AI made a specific decision? It really depends on the initial prompts, the data.
And potential biases in that data, right?
Yeah.
Which could then hit taxpayers unfairly.
Precisely. It's like a very sophisticated calculator. If you feed it bad numbers or if its internal logic has flaws, it'll still give you an answer, but that answer will be wrong. Someone mentioned an example online where ChatGPT apparently made a huge mistake on inheritance tax calculations and couldn't even correct itself.
Oof. Okay. So what about human oversight then? If the AI is kind of a black box, couldn't someone, as one comment put it, a corrupt neoliberal, just tweak the AI or hard code things to benefit themselves?
That's a major concern.
That space between the chair and the keyboard, as someone else said, it still seems crucial, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It feels like the potential problem just gets pushed one step back to whoever designs or manages the AI.
Yeah. Someone even joked about a teenager finding a loophole and awarding themselves millions.
Huh. Well, maybe. But, okay, let's connect this to the bigger picture in Albania. A country that's historically struggled with high corruption levels, complicated politics.
Right.
For them, some argue this kind of disruptive innovation might actually be the only way forward, trying to replace potentially arbitrary human decisions with clearer algorithmic ones.
So it's a gamble, basically.
Kind of. It forces us to ask, can we really build enough safeguards, enough checks and balances into these algorithms? Can we make them robust enough? Or is it just, as another comment worried, a poor LLM that will lose track in 2 hours?
It's a huge ethical tightrope delegating such critical public tasks.
Definitely. Definitely is.
Okay, so from the really complex world of government policy and corruption, let's shift gears. Let's talk about something maybe closer to home for many listeners. AI making our cars smarter, a totally different scale, but just as transformative, maybe.
Exactly. And this next part really shows AI's versatility. It's not just for these huge systemic problems. It's also for, improving our immediate safety and driving experience.
Our deep dive found this project using AI and embedded systems for intelligent vehicles. Focus is safety, better driving. And what caught my eye was the hardware. They're using a Raspberry Pi, which seemed small for AI. Why a Raspberry Pi?
That's a great question, and it's key to understanding embedded AI. See, embedded systems are basically tiny, specialized computers inside bigger devices. Your washing machine, your thermostat, your car.
Uh-huh.
They need to run by themselves, react quickly, and this is crucial use, very little power. Often they run on batteries. Now, a Raspberry Pi's processor is, way less powerful than your laptop. Our sources said embedded chips can be like 2 or 3 decades behind a PC chip in raw power.
Wow, decades.
Yeah, but the Pi is perfect because it sips energy. And the core tech here is computer vision letting the machine see and deep learning, specifically things called convolutional neural networks, or CNNs.
CNN, right.
Think of a CNN as a really good pattern spotter.
Yeah.
It learns to pick out specific features in images, which is perfect for, say, recognizing faces or traffic signs.
Okay, so using that efficient power, let's look at these 3 applications they developed. Facial recognition to start the car, driver fatigue detection, and traffic sign recognition. First up, the face starter. So imagine just looking at your car and it starts. And maybe adjust your seat and mirrors too. How does that work on a little Pi?
So they didn't build a huge AI model from scratch. They used a pre-trained one, an architecture called MobileNet V2. Think of it like using a ready-made, super efficient AI brain designed specifically for mobile or embedded devices. Ideal for the Pi's processor.
Okay, so it's optimized.
Exactly. And to quickly spot if there's a face in the camera's view, they use something called a hair cascade. It's like a super fast checklist looking for basic facial patterns, shadows, bright spots.
Like under the nose or forehead.
Precisely. Then the MobileNet V2 model, which was trained on tons of faces, they augmented the data, showing it the same faces in different ways, different angles, lighting.
Like teaching it to recognize a cat no matter how it's sitting.
Good analogy, yeah. Once it recognizes a registered face, the Pi sends a signal to a relay, which basically bypasses the ignition switch and starts the car for a few seconds.
Pretty cool. And you can see the benefit security, that personalized touch. Your car knows it's you.
Right.
Okay, next. Driver fatigue. This is a huge safety issue. How does AI tackle something so subtle?
Well, the system watches the driver's behavior, specifically their eyes and mouth. It calculates 2 things. One is per close percentage of eye closure, basically how much time your eyes are shut over a short period. If it goes above a certain threshold, say 80% close over 3 minutes, that suggests drowsiness.
Okay, makes sense.
The other is FOM, frequency of mouth, looking for yawns. If your mouth opens like 3 or 4 times wider than when you're just talking, that's a pretty strong sign too.
And it combines these.
Yeah, if either per close or FOM hits a high threshold, or if both are moderately high, it flags fatigue. It's trying to catch it before it becomes dangerous. Predictive safety.
And what about distractions? Looking away from the road?
For that, it uses that same fast hair cascade face detector. If it doesn't see your face looking forward for more than, say, 3 seconds, it assumes you're distracted.
Clever.
And then it triggers alerts, visual ones like LEDs blinking from green to red, and audio ones, a buzzer, maybe even a speaker saying, please rest NW.
That could definitely save lives. Just
Sure.
that little nudge.
Absolutely. A moment's distraction is all it takes sometimes.
Okay, finally. Traffic sign recognition. We all miss signs sometimes, especially on busy roads. Can AI act as a co-pilot here?
It really can. This system focuses on identifying and classifying traffic signs. Critical for smart cars, they used a custom-built CNN trained on a really big German data set, the GTSRB, has something like 43 different types of signs in it.
43. Wow.
Yeah, speed limits, stop signs, yield signs, all sorts. And the model got over 99% accuracy in testing, which is pretty amazing.
How do they get it so accurate?
Well, before the AI even looks at the image from the car's camera, they do some pre-processing. They clean it up digitally, make it grayscale, adjust the contrast, normalize it. This helps the AI focus on the important shape and symbols of the sign, not get confused by shadows or bad lighting.
Gotcha. Standardizing the input.
Right. And on the Raspberry Pi, it then shows the recognized sign on a little LCD screen. They even simulated a scenario where if you're going faster than the speed limit on the sign it just detected, it could give you a voice warning or buzz.
That's fantastic. Like having an extra pair of eyes that never gets tired and knows all the rules. Less stress, more safety.
Exactly. It's turning the car from just a machine into like an active, intelligent partner on the road.
So from, a digital minister fighting corruption in Albania to cars that know your face and watch out for you, the scope of AI applications is just, it's astounding. We've really seen today how these advancements, especially in deep learning, combined with efficient hardware like embedded systems, are pushing boundaries everywhere.
Yeah, it really demonstrates that AI isn't just about, massive supercomputers anymore. It's increasingly about creating these smart, targeted, efficient solutions for real-world problems. But the challenges, as we touched on, they're still significant. Things like data quality,
Mhm.
understanding why the AI does what it does, and always balancing that automation with human judgment and oversight.
So thinking about all that, what's maybe one final thought for our listeners to chew on?
Well, just consider how rapidly AI is weaving itself into the systems all around us, from how our governments might operate to the vehicles we trust with our lives. How do we make sure these smart solutions really serve us, serve humanity? And maybe what new responsibilities do we as users, as citizens, need to take on in this world that's becoming more automated?
That's a powerful thought indeed. Lots to consider there. And that is our deep dive for today. If you enjoyed this look at AI's cutting edge, please do share it with a friend. We're trying to bring you the most fascinating insights we can find, and your support genuinely helps us keep going. This has been a deep dive from Le Podcast de Philippe. And hey, we are really close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, so if you haven't already, please help us get there. Thanks for listening.